You ready now? Welcome to another episode of Gas Station Grub. You can't handle the tooth. I have it's funny because I do have a gas station grub that I do with my son, which is pretty funny. You should check it out. But this is the real Floss Boss, and I'm glad you have tuned in for another episode of You Can't Handle the Tooth. So we have an interesting subject today. It is on toothbrushes, and you wonder, like these toothbrushes, right? When you go to the store, if you've ever gone down the aisle, there's like so many choices to choose from, and how do you know which toothbrush to pick? Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that today, and we got a bunch of varieties. We bought a couple to show you guys, and I think these look really cool. And but you know, I'm a visual person, and so see this one here, and it's got these little bumps on the back. We'll talk about that. Cool handle though, looks very modern and spacey like. And this one here also has cool colors. This one's by Oral-B. I mean, I'd use either one of these. It's got little exhaust pipes right here in the middle or something. Anyway, they look pretty cool. So how do you know which one to pick from? So there's a couple of general guidelines. First, let's talk about just toothbrushing in general. You know, how often should you do it? And how abrasive should you get? Stuff like that. Well, I can tell you that for the good brushing technique, right, no matter which brush you're using, you want about half of the bristles on your gums and the other half on the teeth, and you really want to try to get those bristles down into the gums. You're trying to get that plaque off of the gums, okay? And so you want to clean around the gums, half on, half off, and then on the tops, of course, don't forget front and back, right, you're inside and out. And people often will, you know, get a death grip on the toothbrush because they want to scour the teeth and really scrub them. And I'm here to tell you, all you need, 2 fingers, that's all the pressure that you need. Okay, you can actually do some damage to your gums if you're really gripping it and ripping it in there, all right? So that's the technique. You'll notice on some of these toothbrushes, like I noticed on this one, there is, wow, this one's really cool. Like, that's a cool color. I bet you every color of those bristles have a different purpose. Some engineer went crazy on that one. Good grip for the fingers. I like this one. All right, so on the back side of this part here is this really, can you see that okay? I don't know if you can see that well, but you got the bristles, of course, that you'll brush your teeth with, but on the back you got these little massager, and it's pretty cool feeling. And you might wonder, what is that for? So that is to brush your tongue with. People are like, brush your tongue, ugh. But brushing your tongue is actually really important. A lot of bacteria get trapped in the hair on your tongue, which is kind of gross, but you do have air on there, and it'll trap stuff and smells. So that's where they store, and that's where you can get bad breath from. So you want to scrub your tongue. But if you don't have this, it's okay because you always have the bristles. You can use the bristles. And I go back as far as I can until I gag. So anyway, just scrub your tongue. You should brush your tongue all the time, okay? Clean them off a little bit. As far as that, beyond that, quite honestly, there's only one rule on manual toothbrushes that is like really important. And the one rule you want to look for, the one factor in buying a toothbrush, is you want soft bristles. And you'd think, why? So many dentists now are recommending soft bristles. Why do they even sell the other ones? And some people have braces, or maybe, you know, there's good reason for harder bristles. Maybe you actually have a problem in your hand or wrist. You can't grip very tight, and you're kind of depending on those bristles to do some of the muscle for you. But generally speaking, soft bristles, okay? The harder bristles, they'll actually start, you know, pushing your gums down. It can irritate your gums, cause more trauma and stuff like that. So you want soft bristles. Now, what else? What else when you're looking at it? There's actually no other real reason to why you'd want one toothbrush over another. You may like the way it feels in your hand. Like, I've never used this before, but I kind of like it. Made by Colgate. Colgate. I don't get any endorsements for this. I just did that. But this one feels really good in my hand, and so that's kind of a cool tooth. Maybe I'll buy this toothbrush, you know. The other thing, they have a curve. See the curve? and it's meant to sort of form to the arch of the teeth, a longer bristle up here to kind of hug the backside of the back tooth, and then when you're coming forward to get in between the teeth, doesn't compensate for flossing, of course, but you know, you want a curved brush is nice. It makes it a little easier to clean everywhere. All right, and let's see about this one here. What we got here? This is Oral-B. Gently polishes away the stains. 3D white. Now it doesn't matter. Come on. It doesn't matter. Wow, this one looks really cool. So this is another cool looking toothbrush. I like it. Wow, yeah, it's pretty cool. These bristles, these feel a little softer. These feel a little harder. What is this? Gotta be. It says it gently polishes away. This is medium. Okay. This one, 360 degrees. Medium. They're both medium. But it doesn't matter, because the point is you want to use soft. Okay, you want to use soft. All right, now everybody, one of the most popular questions that I get, which toothbrush should I use? And sometimes, like, they're asking in general. Most of the time, they're ready to make a purchase and buy an electric toothbrush, and they want to know what is the best electric toothbrush that's out there. And there are two brands that are sort of there's probably other ones, but the most popular, most researched would be Oral-B. They make one, and Sonicare makes one, and that's generally the question I get. Which one of those two are better? So a couple of tips about these two toothbrushes. One is like, let's say Oral-B, for example. Oral-B, the brush heads are a little bit larger, and they use a rotating or oscillating type motion, sort of like this. And it goes, I think it said 16 degrees or something like that around. They're usually a little less expensive than Sonicare. If you look at the Sonicare, the brush heads are a little bit smaller, and it uses a vibration, like ultrasonic vibration, about 31,000 vibrations per minute. So that's huge. And they're typically a little bit more expensive. They're a little more expensive. Now, you know, which one is better? Well, I could have an Oral-B rep come into my office next week to try and sell me some toothbrushes, and they would have all kinds of data that they've done showing that their toothbrush is better than Oral-B. And the next week, I could have Oral-B come in, and guess what? They would have data published on really nice paper, and I'm not dissing them. They've done research. The fact is, they're both great. And so, you know, you might want to try them. I know it's an expensive thing to do, but these are big companies. They stand behind their name, and if you bought one and were completely dissatisfied, my guess would be they would try to fix the problem. I can tell you that I've used both, and I'm talking about the high-end professional ones, because Oral-B electric ones and Sonicare electric ones, they price range from, you know, $50 to $70 up to over $200 for a toothbrush. This is crazy. Some of them have you know, chargers, so you don't have to plug them in anymore. You set them in a cup and it charges automatically. Other ones have Bluetooth stuff on it. No joke, you could use your phone. I'd use mine, but it's right there. Other ones, you could use your phone, and it'll tell you if you're brushing too hard. You know, if you're that into it, it's pretty wild. They vary also in battery life. I think Sonicare actually lasts about 3 weeks, and the Oral-B is about 10 days, a week or 10 days or something like that. But which one is better? I've used both of them, and I used the Oral-B for several years, and then I used Sonicare, and I can tell you, I personally like Sonicare better. I did. It made my teeth feel a little bit cleaner, but for any of you that have Oral-B, trust me, it's good, and it's because of this one underlying principle, okay? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can be very effective with one of these. If you want to step up to the Oral-B, which there are studies that show these electric toothbrushes, if used properly, can be more effective than manual toothbrushing, but manual toothbrushing is more than adequate if done properly. So you got to spend adequate time, adequate pressure, and getting all the areas just well, of course supplemented with flossing, and you're going to be just fine. People will ask about toothpaste too. We'll do another one on toothpaste another time. But if you're an adult, you know, it doesn't really matter which toothpaste. In fact, you don't even need toothpaste. This is a physical debridement of plaque and of plaque off of your teeth, and keeping them clean. And so the toothpaste helps with breath. It might help with whitening. It might help with some staining because there's some abrasive chemicals in the toothbrush or in the toothpaste. But overall, again, it's about the technique of use. The other thing that's really important, I don't want to not say this, and that is if you have any sort of deformity or arthritis or anything like that, an electric toothbrush is the way to go because it doesn't require as much dexterity, and you can get your teeth cleaned really well with them. So I would invest in a more expensive toothbrush. That's what I got for toothbrushes. Okay, so I hope you can use them. Is this one good? Yes. Is this one good? Yes. They're medium grit, so I don't really like that, but I would go for the soft. But overall, it's more about the technique and the frequency than it is about the brush or the bristle or the colors or the feel, which I like too. All right, and so there you go on toothbrushes. Thank you, everybody who watches these Facebook Lives. I really appreciate it. I still get feedback I get them on Facebook sometimes. I get feedback a lot on other social media outlets that I'm on, which is Instagram, Snapchat, and even less on Twitter, so I don't even know why I do that much anymore. But I appreciate it because it helps me know what you guys want to know. Feel free to comment below. If there's a specific subject you want me to cover at another Facebook Live, happy to do it. If I need to, I'll do research on it ahead of time so that you get all the information that you need. Again, this is just me trying to help you so that you can work with whichever dentist you're with and just have the best oral health possible and the best smile possible for better eating experience and better smiling experience. All right, so thanks again for tuning in to The Floss Boss with another episode of You Can't Handle the Tooth. I will see you next week.